All
Yep.
right.
All right. You guys are cooking with gas. I'm going to log off my phone and get onto my computer.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Mel.
You're welcome. You got to be awesome. I can't wait to hop on. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, you've been warned. All right.
All right. I think everybody that's there will give everybody some time too. Hey, good evening, everyone.
Hello, JMAC.
Hello.
They keep popping up here. Yeah, getting all the technical stuff out of the way. Usually I just jump on and she's already on. I don't have to do all the fancy stuff.
Yep.
I noticed Jamie wasn't running to my aid. What's up,
loud.
Jamie? You weren't running to my aid.
Yeah, I know. I was having computer malfunctions.
The camera's off.
All right. Is everybody in? Show 15. Let's see, that's 12, 15. I show 15. There is 15. Look at that. I can count. Well, so tonight's a little different. Obviously, we got 2 hours to run through. I figured it would be a lot of conversation, a lot of everybody chiming in their 2 cents. We're going to talk about really hit up questions that Santa may get or Mrs. Claus may get. Hopefully, we'll get some Mrs. Claus to join us as the evening progresses. At the same time, I'm just going to preface it that it may not be, we're going to try and avoid the common questions. How old are you, Santa? We're going to go for a little more off the cuff. So you may put a little bit of your improv to work tonight because these may be questions out of left field for you that at the same time may be something you encounter. And so we've talked about doing something a little different than the norm, but we'll have questions both really from children on the naughty list, maybe some children on the nice list, maybe some in between. There might even be a few downright rotten. I don't know. So Jamie, what do you think?
I'm ready for this. I've been pumped up all week thinking of good stuff here. So I'm excited. I'm glad everybody's here. So I'm ready to let us get us going. Was that my question?
Yep. So the ground rules would be, if you don't mind, if the question gets, if we throw the question up or we throw the question out there, if you have an answer, or you have something that however you would respond normally, please throw the little hand raising sign up so we can kind of keep some order. If we don't get any hand raising signs, then we may just randomly select you. Of course, with the premise that you may never come back to a show again, but that's okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Lewis.
So, I just want to inform you down here.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
I see you on the screen. Awesome.
Hey, Lewis.
All right, Jamie, you're the keeper of the questions.
All right. We're ready here.
How are you going to get us started?
Let's start off one with little Johnny here. All right. So it's a yo Santa. How many cookies does it take you to bribe to keep letting you know that I picked on my sister this year? Huh? How many cookies does it take?
Who gets bribed with cookies?
Santa getting bribed with cookies.
Anybody got a thought? How might you answer that question? How many cookies is it going to take to bribe you this year, Santa? Man, no hands.
Wow.
All right, we'll start it off easy. Jamie, why don't you give us your answer?
Well, it depends on the cookie quality. You know, are they homemade or are they store-bought? You know, if they're snickerdoodles, ooh, you can get me with about 5 of those. But I have to still put you on the nice list. So let's do something a little bit better there. Let's think instead of bribing Santa, let's work on what it takes to make you nice to your sister.
There we go. What does it take for you to be nice? Oh, people waiting to get in. There we go. The list is growing here. Anyone else? Any other thoughts on how you might approach that question? Santa, how many cookies does it take to bribe you since I've been mean to my sister? Derek, I see a hand up.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a different route to this. So I'd probably tell him, well, Johnny, Mrs. Claus has got me on a diet this year. She got me going back to the gym and everything. So the best way into my heart is probably a 12-year-old Glenn Fiddich.
I like that one.
Yeah. I see Don
I said
Osborne.
Don has this.
Yeah, go ahead, Don. Oh,
There you go.
How many times have you been mean to your sister?
Well,
Oh,
Don,
oh,
I've
good.
been mean 6 times. 6 times, Don.
6 times?
Yeah,
Well,
today.
standard policy is at least 4 cookies per incident. So
Oh.
if you've been mean 6 times, it's going to take at least 24 cookies, and not just
Ooh.
any cookie. Now, I'm not talking chocolate chip. Now, any other day of the week we might be talking chocolate chip, but we got to go with the white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. I mean, that's just, you wanting to get on the good list, you got to get out of the pocket, So,
Well, thank you, Santa. I'll work on that.
you gotta come to the table with a little bit. You gotta
Yeah.
have some skin in the game. Grandpa Gus, what you got for us?
Well, after a little bit of thought, I would pose it like this. How many cookies will you have to give your sister in order to have her forgive you?
That's a good one.
That's how
That's a
many
good one.
cookies it will cost.
Yeah, not
That's
about
a
me.
good
I like that one.
one. I like it.
Lewis, what do you got for us?
I had to unmute myself.
That's
Hold on. Okay, that's
You're good.
better. I would say that kind of bribery will not last forever.
Good point. Good job, Lewis.
That's short-lived, right?
That's right.
All right, anyone else? All right. Santa Jamie, what do you got up for us next? We got a whole plethora of questions we can run
Oh,
through. We'll be here
yeah.
for a while. Give us something from the nice side.
Well,
Sweet and innocent.
Santa, what's the coziest part of your house at the North Pole when you're just relaxing for Christmas?
Where is your relaxing spot? If you were a cat, Santa, where would you crawl up and relax?
That would be my red rocking chair by the fireplace with a blanket knitted by Mrs. Claus and a plate of cinnamon cookies. And a big thing of hot cocoa.
That hand knitted.
Hand knitted by Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, because you
What's
don't
the
want to
coziest
think.
place?
Oh, sure, Mrs. Claus gave it to you, but all the elves knitted it. Come on, Santa. They knitted it down there at Walmart. Oh, somebody's in the waiting room. Here we go. I got it.
It won't allow me to let him in right now, JMAC. So if I see
Okay.
anybody, I'll holler at you.
All right.
So if a child asked you as a Santa, what's the coziest part of your house at the North Pole when
You
you're
know what?
relaxing after Christmas?
I certainly like to put my feet up right by the fireplace. Get some nice big logs, roaring fire in there. Get you just nice and toasty. Get them toes a little toasty. Because they're a little get cold when they're in the boots all night long. And I get to eat on some of those cookies that I've been collecting all night. You're gonna leave me something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, leave me something good so I have plenty to munch on the next day when I'm kicked back and relaxed in my cozy place.
Santa JMAC, I have you 6 asparagus cookies made just for you.
Ooh, I got to make sure I get my greens in, don't I?
Yeah.
That goes right along with the diet Mrs. Claus has me on, lean and green. Go ahead, Grandpa Gus.
Oh, well, what I would tell a little one is I have a room off to the side filled with books and treasures and memories that I like to go and to sit in and to recall the good times that I've had in the past.
Good job.
I like that.
I
Because you
like
think
that.
about it, sometimes children maybe want to leave you something besides cookies. So they leave a hand-drawn picture or something, and you say, yeah, you know, when I'm making all my rounds that night, I pick up all these sweet little trinkets that everybody likes to leave me. And I just sit there and reminisce about how sweet it was for that child to leave me such a sweet little item. I
Actually,
like that perspective.
I'm looking at one right now.
Yeah, I like that perspective. Anyone else got a thought? All right, we better make sure we have plenty of questions, Jamie. We're going to be
you got
running through
plenty
these
of
pretty
questions.
quick.
How many lumps of coal till you give up on me, Santa?
How many lumps of coal till I give up on you?
Yes.
Oof. How many lumps of coal till I give up on you? That's a tough question. All right, there we go. Santa Jerry's in the house. Come on.
Well, I would have to tell him every time I give him a piece of coal, I'm trying to warm his heart.
There we go.
Good one, Jerry. I like that. I'm writing that down, Jerry.
It's not about how many pieces. It's about how warm your heart gets over those time that I give you all that coal. Right? I like that idea.
Hey, we got Bob up there.
I don't have a lot of experience, but I had a lot of kids or brothers and sisters that would say to me that somebody's I had a lot of brothers and sisters that would say he's on the naughty list, and my response was always, it only takes one good deed to get you off the naughty list.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. You might be on the naughty list now, but it just takes one nice thing to get you back off the list, and I would just kind of leave it at that and let them think. And it seemed to always make kids think about it. Like there's always a chance, right? I don't know. Hope.
I think it's important to offer hope.
Big for me.
They shouldn't. And I guess this goes to, we should probably, part of the discussion can be, I was in Gatlinburg. One of the presenters talked about that we should do away with the naughty nice list. But I think if you do away with the naughty nice list, you're damaging the lore of what is Santa. It doesn't mean the kids have to. It doesn't mean it has to be a negative connotation. But I don't think that you do away with it altogether. But we can certainly, like the other Santa said about, a lump of coal is going to warm your heart and will get you where you need is about your perspective.
I like
and
that.
Getting, I think that we shouldn't do away with it, because I think this tradition it's lore. It's kids are going to forever know about the naughty list and the nice list. But how we present it is where I think the rubber meets the road, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yeah.
That's just my perspective. Some may think that we need to do away with it, but I think that it's always going to be there regardless. We're never going to be able to get rid of the red suit and white beard and black boots, because that's going to always be the lore of, we may have a lot of variations of it, and we may have a lot of variations on the naughty nice list and how we approach it. But I generally, like I know in my own presentation, in my own persona, I don't really bring up the naughty list. We work primarily with the nice list, and they get to find out if they're naughty or nice, and they make the nice list and they sign the book. And then we talk about how that book goes back to the Hall of Records. But if I'm ever posed with it, I think it goes great with, you know what, the coal is really about warming your heart, and I love that perspective
Yeah, me too.
because we can take in a lot of different directions. Santa David Henson, I see you up there with your hand.
Well, you know, if the question is of how much would it take for you to give up, the main thing is to say that we're never going to give up. I'm never going to give up on a child. So you always have a chance to
Yep.
correct whatever it is and to make the nice list. So this past year, my Mrs. Claus was with me, and we had this little girl come up to her and confess that she was on the naughty list. She was concerned about coming over to see me. It's kind of a funny story. So my Mrs. Claus told her that she was going to go in there and change her name over from the naughty list to the nice list, and before she would go over and see me. And the little girl got all excited and said, "Okay, good." So she thought she had been changed to a different list, and then she came over there to see me. It was kind of a funny story. My wife tells it a lot funnier than I do. So, but the main thing is the question of giving up. It has to be said that you would never give up. That there's always a chance.
Absolutely.
Now, Santa David, what would you recommend for me to do to get on the nice list? Because I've been pretty mean to my little sister.
Well, it's time to be nice to your little sister now, isn't it?
What,
You can do
what,
something nice for her, can't you?
what I like to tell them in certain points like that, I like to tell them that I was muting someone there. I like to tell them the best way to get back on the nice list and stay on it is cleaning your room, good manners, please and thank you. Oh, that goes such a long way. And doing really good in school, that helps out, but try hard. So that's a couple of things I'll throw out there with them to try getting them to look at something else. You know, I always like to throw out cleaning your room, good manners. If I know they're religious, make sure they say their prayers at night. And the cleaning the room is always the one I like to get them with last, because they always make a great face. Oh, best way to
I
stay
always
on that
just
nice
say,
list.
but
Clean your room.
Santa allows you to not eat your green peas. Just kidding. Don, you had your hand up a minute ago, Don Osborne.
There.
Oh,
Yeah.
There he is.
Whenever I hear a mention of a lump of coal, I kind of lean back on the old the mother of all diamonds story, and I'll present to them, say, you know why I leave the lump of coal? It's not because you've been bad, it's to remind you that you can be better. And that how a lump of coal through the process of time and dealing with the situations that you walk through, somewhere down the road, you might just become a diamond. And I get parents that will step back, oh, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, you get a few that they're headstrong on the lump of coal being something mean. And, well, look, I've got a little bauble over here on my belt that has a lump of coal in it. And what even Santa needs a reminder that he can do better.
Yes.
And that one day, maybe God will make me what he wants me to be, a diamond in this whole world. So I ever since I've heard Steve Gillum tell the mother of all diamonds story,
Yeah.
I've always liked dealing with a lump of coal like that.
That's great. Don, with you, I'll go, whoo, Don, man, that coal is pricey. I'm going to start leaving you glitter bombs.
I hate glitter. I
I
can't
know.
stand it. It gets stuck in my beard and on my suit. Don't let me no glitter.
all right, Jamie, give us something sweet.
Oh, sweet. I was going tough. Let's go sweet
No,
here.
we got to take it down a notch. All this coal talk is got me depressed. I need something
Okay.
sweet and heartfelt.
Do you ever need help wrapping presents?
Ooh. That's a good one. Well, don't we have a whole wrapping room?
Yeah.
Present wrapper
Bob.
9,000. It's
Go
I
ahead,
was going
Bob.
to say,
Push
I
to
need
the North
nothing but
Pole.
help.
Yeah. Bob, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I mean that my response to that was I need nothing but help, and I have plenty of it. And it's the elves who do. There's a special subset of elves that I have who go through an entire course, an entire process, and a training session learning how to wrap presents, and it is crazy. You should see what they can do. These guys can wrap almost anything, shape, size, however they do it. They can wrap it for you. So yeah, I have tons of help wrapping presents.
Well,
I
Santa
don't need
Bob,
help because Mrs. Claus doesn't allow me to wrap anymore. You've seen how bad I do?
No, if I wrapped it, it'd be in
Gotta
the
leave
shape
it
of
to
the
the
object.
elves.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
terrible at wrapping. I tell kids I'm terrible at it.
do we have a
But I
Mrs.
can,
Claus
but
on
I
here?
can drive that sleigh.
Right.
Do we have Mrs. Claus on here that may want to answer that? On, do you ever need any help wrapping presents?
I see Karen Casey's iPhone is on here. Miss Karen, you have any thoughts? Oh, maybe that's a Santa in disguise. There's no picture.
It's me. I'm sorry. I'm multitasking here and cooking dinner at the same time.
Oh.
So. But how to wrap presents?
Do you ever need help wrapping presents?
Oh, always. And I have my special elves that are trained just to do that and make the bows just right.
Is Santa a good rapper?
He has his moments.
Does he?
Anna's been known to rap better than Mrs. Claus sometimes.
Now, when you said Santa was a good rapper, did you mean music wise, or are you talking about rapping
Oh,
presents?
no.
They
Santa
asked
could
me if
break
I
things
can,
if he
if I
wanted to.
rap. That's one of my go-tos. If they ask me if I can rap, I go, what? Yo, 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 Santa's the rapper. Was the night before Christmas and all through the house. And they're like, it stops about there. They tell me to shut up. They're like, enough already. And we move on to the next question. What's another good one there, Santa Jamie?
Oh, here's a typical question about a cookie, but I'm going to put a twist on it. What is your elf's favorite cookie to eat? I would like to leave your elves a cookie this year.
Anyone? They don't like cookies.
We always tell the children that Santa loves any cookies that are made, especially by them, with love. And so our elves like it made with that special ingredient as well.
My elves like whatever cookies I can't finish.
Except for the asparagus cookies.
Yes.
See, my elves like gingerbread reindeer with sugar crystal antlers. At Grandpa Gus's up there.
Yeah, Grandpa Gus, you got something. What do you got?
Well, what I tell kids is that Santa has two favorite cookies, round ones and square ones. And I'll take any that I can get, and I'll share whatever I have left over with the elves. But don't count on leftovers.
Everett, what do you got for us? Everett?
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Well, there's the Keebler elves that make all the cookies all year long.
Oh.
And, people don't really realize, that they're a subsidiary of the elf population. And they're really good at making elf, the Keebler, brand cookies. But their favorite one has to be Snickerdoodles.
Oh, good Snickerdoodles.
I don't know. I like those graham crackers with the chocolate on them. Boy, those are pretty darn good.
Ooh.
I have two favorite cookies, store-bought and homemade.
There you go.
They're my favorite ones.
I like round ones.
I do like round ones too.
But sometimes they leave me like a gingerbread man or a Christmas tree, and I'll just eat all the corners off until it's a circle, and then I'll really enjoy it. So
I sometimes tell them with that too, that I really love Oreo cookies, but if you leave them out for me, leave me a fork too, because I like to take that fork and put right in the stuffing of that cookie and dip it in the milk so my fingers don't get milk on them when I'm eating them.
A fork with your Oreo cookie?
Yeah, stick it right in the cream part of it, and your hands never, you dip the whole cookie all the way down in milk.
Never heard of such a thing.
Oh yeah,
What?
you
Santa
drown it.
Jamie's really doing this. I feel like I feel like
Oh, I do.
this is legit.
Oh yeah, you drown them. You drown them until there's no more bubbles. You know, then you
That's
really
right.
got it, and then you bring them out and eat them. Now, yeah.
It is perfectly.
Drown
You don't
until
need
there's
teeth.
no more bubbles. Oh my gosh.
That's the
I'm gonna
best
lose
way
my
to eat
mind.
an Oreo cookie.
I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
I'll make a video for you. Oh, Derek, actually Ted Flynn had his hand up first. Let's go to Ted Flynn, and I'll come to you, Derek.
Well,
Ted, what you got?
Shouldn't it be obvious that the elves' favorite cookies are shortbread?
Oh,
Oh, I love that. I'm writing that one down.
We need a little rim shot.
a shortbread. Go ahead, Derek. What you got?
I love that shortbread. That's cool.
It is.
You know, Jamie, I have an akin to the Oreo cookies, but I actually use a spoon and I let the Oreo cookie sit on top of the milk and I let it slowly float down. And once the crest of the milk comes over the cookie, I stick my spoon in and I feel like I'm actually saving the Oreo from being drowned.
Unlike holding it underwater till there's no more bubbles.
Right.
See, I'm on the naughty list. He's on the nice list. He's saving the cookie. I'm drowning the cookie.
Oh my gosh,
Thanks,
I'm
Derek. I love that though. I'm gonna have to try that.
The best thing
I feel for
the best
anybody
thing
that
about the Oreo cookie that I was introduced to at a motorcycle rally, if you have never had a fried Oreo, you're missing out on one of the most incredible creative
Oh yes.
dishes. And what I do with the fried Oreo cookie is I line the bottom of my bowl at home, and then I put vanilla ice cream over that. And then I put a layer of hot chocolate, and it freezes up on the ice or on the ice cream. And then on top of that, I make homemade whipped cream with a little special concoction I work into the whipped cream. Anybody who wants to know about it, you'll have to PM me because it involves alcohol. And then, of course, on top of that, the nuts go on top of that. And then, I mean, that in itself is a gastro nightmare, but unbelievable.
Stop right now. I've already gained 5 pounds.
I know.
I'm 100% on board.
But I'll tell you my favorite cookie of all, and the L's favorite cookie of all, is actually during the time of year when the Girl Scouts come out and they sell those Samoans. Or Samoas. They don't sell Samoans. They sell Samoans.
They sell Samoans. That's a different business.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's it. So let's go from cookies to the next question. Hey, Santa, does Mrs. Claus ever make you work out?
Oh. Yeah. Does Mrs. Claus ever make you work out?
I sometimes tell them like she does, but sometimes I fake a sleigh injury. No, I don't tell them that. Go ahead,
Like,
Bob.
oh, I got to take the trash out.
This is one as a new Santa, and as I had lost a lot of weight last year, and so I got a lot, but it wasn't kids that asked me this, but I feel like it's just as important that you give adults the right answer, although you can maybe lean into a little more, I guess, kind of adult response to that, and that was that Mrs. Claus has got me on a program, and I am watching my macros. So that was my big response. And the other one that was, I was on Santa Glutide. So, which the adults thought was hilarious and the kids had no clue what I was talking about. But I never had a kid ask me about that because kids don't seem to care as much as parents do.
I only had because I lost 50 pounds last year, and I only had parents say, "Oh, you're looking a little skinny this year." Go, hey, have you seen those chimneys? They're not getting any wider.
Yeah, it's almost crazy how often adults comment about it. And it's, you got to have that response. So it's,
And the kids don't care because they're still
Yeah.
connected to the lore.
yeah, that's it. When I used to cosplay as Batman, and I'm not gonna like labor on that, but they didn't care if I had a store-bought costume or if I had a costume that I put $2,000 into. If you were there and you were bringing it, they don't care. But you got to have those answers ready because they
We got to.
believe me.
Oh,
You did this. Oh, well, that's Spider-Man. Sorry.
Yeah. Whip.
food, spells, and beard. That's what those kids are going to see when they come up.
That's it. That's for
it.
real.
All right, Jamie.
All right,
Lay another one on us.
We're going to get a little serious on this one.
Uh-oh.
You're going to have to think a little bit on this one because it's a little emotional with you. And this is one that I've had. Santa, will you still visit me when I feel invisible?
Hmm.
You know, because kids, it's tough on kids these days. So the question again is, Santa, do you still visit me when I feel invisible?
It's probably the child that has no friends or that feels like
Being bullied.
nobody likes him or her. Go ahead, Santa Jerry.
Well, I guess the first thing I'd have to do is start that conversation with that child. What's making you feel invisible?
But Santa
You know.
Jerry, I'm getting bullied at school a lot.
Well, have you told anybody? Are you doing anything about it? Do we need to tell your teacher? Do I need to help you tell your teacher? Because I can do that for you.
I've told my teacher, she just told me to grow up. And my mom and dad, I'm afraid to tell them about it. Are there any advice you'd give me, Santa?
Well, I just have to say, hang in there because you're going to grow up one of these days. Them kids are going to stop bullying you. And together we could, if you want to, we can pray about it.
Oh, that's a good part.
Well, one thing you have to remember too, as a retired teacher, once a kid says that they're bullied or they've been hit, you have to report that. You don't have to teach. So
yeah, my wife is an elementary school principal. I'm well aware.
Talk to your teacher about it. And if somebody said something like that, I'd say then talk to the principal about it.
Yeah.
Actually, I was actually a school bus driver and we were mandated reporters.
Yep.
Yeah. You can't ignore comments like that.
Nope. Go ahead, Grandpa Gus. What you got? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, let's see if I can unmute you.
All right.
There we
Does
go.
the mandated reporting, is that in all the states?
I don't know if it's in all states, but I would venture to say it probably is in all states, from the education world, that
All right.
given that probably every school system has that set up. And if not, the teachers union makes it, usually drives that with all the teachers as well, that everybody's a mandatory
know that.
reporter.
Well, between my wife and I, we taught in 5 different states, and every state had that.
Yeah.
I would think they all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, we talk about all the time, even if somebody outside, even if it's not during the school day and she gets information that's, feels needs to be reported, she often is obligated, even off duty, to report something that we find out.
Well, I was Santa for 15 years while I was still teaching. And there were 2 situations where kids told me stuff as Santa that I had to report.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next question, because we have several Santas in here that's got several years of experience. Is if you hear of a child being bullied, they're telling you about it, do you confront the parents and talk to them about it, or what's your next stage? I figured, Derek, you may jump in on that one.
I have I've had to address this several times over the past 15 years. And what was really interesting is last year, a woman out of the blue called me and booked me for a private event. And as as I was getting prepared and I called her to confirm everything a couple days out, she said, listen, I want to tell you something. And we just don't know how to handle it. And I was like, oh my God, what are you asking me? And she told me her son, who was 8 years old at the time, last year, was being bullied at school. And it was a great opportunity for me just to not only have a conversation with a child, but also have a conversation with a mother. And basically, I just asked her a simple question. I said, how does it make you feel? And she said, I feel like I'm unequipped as a mother to be able to provide the safety that my child needs when they walk out the door. And she goes, unfortunately, I'm not the only one. And because the gig that I had was primarily a photo shoot, you know, people were coming in and out and getting pictures, and she happened to be she brought her family in last. Of course, I took a picture with her and her husband, and the little boy, the little 8-year-old, he was the last one to get his picture with me, you know. And so I asked the photographer, I said, hey, can you hold up just a moment before you take this? I want to have a conversation. I'll just use his name as maybe Ronnie. So I'm sitting there, I said, hey, Ronnie, you know, something's been bothering me, you know. One of the elves came to me the other day and told me a story that they were actually getting bullied by one of the other elves in the toy shop. And so I had to sit down with him and I talked to him and asked him, you know, can you think about anything that might make this other elf feel a little untoward towards you and a little angry at you and cause you to bully? And he looked at me and he said, you know, one day I wore the wrong shirt into work and the other elf chastised me for it. And we went through it and everything else like that. I said, but how does a shirt cause that much anxiety and frustration? And the little boy said, I don't know, but it said, I love Jesus on it. And I was like, and somebody got upset at you for wearing that. And the little boy, Ronnie, who I'm speaking to, he looks at me and he goes, are you kidding me? And I'm like, I'm not kidding you at all. Honest truth. And he goes, I wore that same shirt to school. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, no. He goes, I've got one. He goes, I got it from my Sunday school class and I wore it to school and people were bothering me about it and asking me, you know, why do you believe in Jesus? And I said, well, how did you answer them? He says, well, not only do I believe in Jesus, but I believe in Santa Claus. So I was like, I think you just kind of dealt with your own situation here. I think you're just be honest with your heart and, you know, think about the forgiveness aspect towards other people who have their heart hardened. And, you know, maybe there's something missing in their life that you could provide a little light for and lighten up their heart and make them feel better. Just turn it around in a positive way. But don't ever think that you're anything less than what God made you, which I think is absolutely spectacular. Got a great big hug, got great pictures, and we moved through it. So I think the situation with bullying, it's rampant. I mean, we don't even see it. We don't just see it in children. We see it in adults. I mean, you can't tell me you haven't seen videos on social media where these people are pushing and shoving and getting in fights and everything else like that. I'll tell you, first of all, God bless all the teachers that have to deal with that. But also, God bless every single one of you, including the Mrs. Clauses, that have to listen to some of these stories. So I applaud the whole question and answer series that you're going through this evening, and I think it's going to be very beneficial.
Good stuff. Everett, what do you got for us?
I'm talking to you on my tablet tonight, but you know, I yet to have you know, had that subject approached to me, but I've already got, I guess, a set answer, not an answer, but an action plan that, if a child, conveys that to me, I'm going to kind of get an idea, like, all right, there's mom, there's dad. And then I'm going to ask the host or one of my other elves to see if they can possibly get a name that I can eventually, report that as needed. And maybe, it just run it through Mrs. Claus and she'll probably say you're overreacting, or yeah, we better do that. But I don't want to let anything just, well, the kid's probably just overacting. Because I grew up as a red-haired, freckle-faced kid. I got bullied a lot, and I was always in a fight. So my Italian and Irish, always came through. So,
Ted, what do you have?
Well, I got to tell you a little story. When I was a young man, my first year of high school, my father was a World War II veteran, and I was getting bullied at school. And he told me to man up, face up that bully, stare him right in the eyes. So the next day I marched in there and I did that, and I commenced to getting the worst ass whipping I ever had in my life. So you want to handle it a little differently than that.
Anyone else have any other thoughts on bullies? On answering that question, it's a tough one, and I agree with what Derek said. Each Santa's gonna have to approach it in their own manner and how their heart tells them. I mean, but it's something we probably should have in the back of our mind of how you might approach it should that question ever arise itself. Because it's one that certainly stumps me. I had one girl last year that was like, all she wanted for Christmas was her sister to be happy. And then we met the sister, and I'm like, I can understand why. And then we had to, try and put a smile on this girl's face, but it was definitely challenging.
It's so difficult as Santa, because a lot of times you don't know who to report it to.
Right.
And it kind of depends on the level that it escalates to as quickly. I had a girl come to me, and this had to be 6-7 years ago. Well, probably longer than that. And she was literally scared. And her father was standing on the sideline yelling, pull his beard, pull his beard. Her mother was there. And I finally went up to the photographer and said, would you please get someone to escort dad out of the building? And they did. And they took him out of the building. And then I talked to mom and I said, you need us to call somebody for you. And she goes, no, I don't think so. This is something we're handling. And that's really all you can do in those situations. I mean, I don't know that calling the police would have been the right thing to do, but you look back at it and you kind of wonder if maybe that's what I should have done.
I think sometimes the parents, it's hard when it's somebody in the crowd that's bullying you a little bit.
I don't care about me. I was curious.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about sometimes you get those you're at a home visit and the adults have been having one party and the kids are having a different party, and you get that one guy that's like, oh, Santa, rah, 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 and you're like, and hopefully you're good with some witty comebacks, because sometimes it can, you got to diffuse the situation a little bit with your wit, but being prepared to control the room.
I taught high school. I speak snark fluently.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that I do real quick. When I have a child that's you can just tell is sad or blue, or they're just they need a little extra loving, I guess you could say. They just need some personal stuff. I have my local seamstress makes me these, and they're called Santa's Hug.
Oh, great!
And so they can put them around their neck, and their little hands will go in the little things. And anytime they need a hug from Santa, they have it right there, anytime. And anytime you feel insecure or unsafe, you always have that there. So that's a little something I don't usually give them to boys, but I usually give them to girls a lot. And it's pretty cool. Quick story on that. One little girl that I gave one to, a few months later, her grandma passed away. And I went to the visitation and she had her Santa hug with her. And that was helping her get through that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Derek, I saw you put your hand up for a second. You have something else to add?
Yeah, really quick. When I went through training for NOR, when NOR was in existence several years ago, they purposely forbid us on the whole bullying. If somebody came to us and told us they were being bullied, nor forbid us to do anything other than say something to the set manager and leave it at that. It's a huge liability for corporations, especially for photo companies who already have to deal with a lot of other things. But that is like one thing we were just told straight up, hey, you can listen to the child, but don't offer any advice. Don't tell them where to go, because you're leaving the company and yourself open for a liable suit.
Yes.
So
you have to be very cautious with it.
Yeah.
All right, Jamie, what do you got next for us?
Well, let's do something. We're still here on this, but let's twist it a little bit. As a Santa or Mrs. Claus, what's the sweetest letter or response you ever received from a child? You know, example may be, you can skip me this year if someone else needs it more. I've had that before.
So sometimes I have a bracelet that one child made me that has a little Santa charm on it. It's red and green and white or whatever. And it's one of those, and it's really cheap, but a child gave it to me once. And so often I might wear that and it's on with my suit. And so something I go, you know what? I got this one year from a child, and isn't it a great little charm on here? I bet you have some charm bracelets at home, right? That always means something to you, and then you just kind of turn the table to them. What's important to you? What kind of things do you have that means something special to you? And then, you know, you can turn the table a little bit on them without locking yourself down.
Well, I hate to monopolize the time here, but an event that happened to me this year was a family came up to me. It was late in the evening. We're 10 minutes away from closing. The youngest one in the family, she was probably 7. Everybody else was older. And so I started with her. So what would you like for Christmas? And she goes, you're not going to like this, Santa. And I said, well, try me. You know, I'm pretty flexible. And she goes, I don't want you to come this year. And I said, what? And she goes, we want to celebrate what Christmas is really about, the birth of Jesus. And I went, I definitely am not upset with that. I think it's a wonderful idea. And we talked for about 5 or 10 minutes with the whole family, and we ended it with a prayer. And I thought that was a young lady that's got her head on straight and heading in the right direction. But as she was leaving, I kind of looked at Mom and Dad and said loud enough for her to hear, hey, make sure you get her something for Christmas anyway, okay?
That's a good story. I like that.
Anyone else?
5 years I've ever had one like that.
And I often keep a book from all my, I have books and books of all the letters, something special things given to me. On my desk, I have a lot of slap bracelets they would make me. And so on the legs of my desk, I just put the slap bracelets around the legs of my desk. Well, often we'll share that with them. I'm like, you know, sometimes boys and girls give me slap bracelets. So you know what I do with them? When I get back to the North Pole, I put them on the legs of my desk. So they're always there for me to see. Yeah. So I think that they often want to do something nice for Santa. So I think there's nothing wrong with encouraging them or sharing, even if it's something improv that you make up in the moment.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David Henson. Santa David.
This past year I had a little girl come up to me and say that she didn't want anything for Christmas, but that her grandmother had been sick and wanted to know if I could do anything to help with the health or to make her grandmother better. And of course, the only thing you can say to that is that you're a toy maker and that you have to be careful how you respond to this and what group you're in. But I did tell her, the little girl at that point, that I would definitely say a prayer for her grandmother, but that I didn't have any magic that could make her better. So Does anybody else have any ideas on how you respond to that type of question? It's just not something that I think at the time I was prepared for, and I did the best I could.
I probably get that question 2 or 3 times a year. And I always say the same thing. We don't understand what God's purpose is in this, but we do have an inside track to the guy that is the big healer. So why don't we just say a quick prayer and ask him for your grandmother's health if that's what he has in mind. And then I'll generally follow it up with, she may be, or if one has just passed, I will say, you don't know what God saved her from. She may have been facing a death much worse than what she went through. God could have been doing everybody a favor with that. We just don't understand, and we never will understand. But even I do Bass Pro Shop in Cabela's, and I won't hesitate a second to stop and pray with a kid or a parent or a family or whatever. So don't think there's nothing you can do. That can leave a child feeling much better about things than you would imagine.
So that kind of leads me into the next question, because it was in the same scenario here. So, Santa, can you bring my dog back? He's passed away and I miss him so much. Think about that a second, because it goes in the same scenario that you're speaking of, grandparents being sick, or a mother or father passed away or something. So this time they're asking for a pet.
My parents had him stuffed and he sits by the fireplace, but I really want to have a real one back.
That's terrible, James. Naughty right there. Naughty.
Like a
JMAC
worst
on the
case
naughty.
scenario.
Well, the stock answer here is simply Santa's not a magician, but magic happens around him. I can't bring living things back. I wish I could. There's many that have passed in my life.
But you know what keeps on living? All those great memories you have of him.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And that's a good point. I like to do the same thing. I'd let them know that, that I know you miss your furry friend, but, Santa can't bring them back. But Santa once had a puppy that passed away too. So I know what you're going through, and I know how it feels that way. I always feel like sometimes if you talk with them and they understand that you've been through the same thing, or Mrs. Claus or one of the elves been through the same thing, it gives them a sense that it's okay, that other people's been through it too.
Hope we lost
Anybody
the
got an
Mrs.
opinion
Claus.
on that, or?
Anyone?
I
Well,
thought
I
that
had a
one was
question
good.
for Mrs. Claus, but she left. But here, I'll throw it out there anyways. Mrs. Claus, what do you do at the North Pole while Santa's flying around the world? Anyone?
She's
Anyone
making
have
a
Mrs.
list.
Claus, or what do they might say?
She's making a list for me to do more things, undoubtedly.
I mean, she's on comms, right? Like she's making sure everything's
Yeah.
cleared the way. She's got to be on top of that.
She's
the
in the
IT
command
she's his
center.
IT resource
Yeah. She's in the command center.
for sure. Can Santa
How do you
convert a
help
word
Santa
count?
stay calm when he's super busy on Christmas Eve? How do you help Santa stay calm when it's super busy?
Oh, I think we got
Oh,
Everett right there,
Everett's,
but I think
oh, we
it's
got
his
a
wife
hand
in the
up. Go
back.
ahead, Everett's Mrs.
Everett's
Claus.
wife's in the background there.
I'm Dana.
Dana, right
for
there.
half of it, I'm sleeping. So, no, I am the organizer. I help the kids keep track of his list while he's on his sleigh, and I'm checking him off. He's constantly saying, "Okay, I got Johnny, I got Susie, I got Bella," and I'm checking him off. Say, "Okay, I help coordinate because he gets lost without a map, so I am his navigator." So
That's a good. What Mrs. Claus, do you ever put Santa on the naughty list?
all the time. All the time. No, we do, you know, what we will tell children, it's like, you know, Santa was just on the naughty list just yesterday. And they go,
man.
I said, yeah. I said, you know, when he went to when he was in the bathroom and he washed his hands and he forgot to hang up the towel, or sometimes he leaves the socks on the floor. I said, that gets him on the naughty list sometimes. But, you know, he quickly remembers that he needs to pick up after himself, and then it gets him back on the nice list.
So Jamie asked that wrong. You should ask her, does she ever take him off the naughty list?
Yes.
Changing it.
Mrs. Claus, have you ever made a present for a kid yourself?
Oh, sure. I give guidance sometimes. It's like, you know, I think maybe this particular doll maybe needs, you know, blonde hair or a little bit darker, curlier hair, or but yeah, I like to sometimes go in the workshop and help make toys too, because it's
Mrs.
fun.
Claus, what's the prettiest Christmas decoration you've ever put up at the North Pole? What's your favorite decoration?
Ooh, my favorite decoration. I like twinkly lights and little crystal ornaments, so that they really shimmer.
I personally like the mistletoe display she puts out every year.
So you can sneak a kiss. Is that what it is, Santa?
I can't walk, you know, 3 square feet and around anywhere without standing underneath something. She's like, Santa,
Uh-huh.
How about this one? Mrs. Claus, have you ever swapped Santa's sleigh keys for a fake set just to mess with him on Christmas Eve?
Not on Christmas Eve. That one, that day is way too important and is so time critical that I can't mess with them. But there's other times that I do mess with them. Other times, like April Fool's Day, you never know what's going to happen that day.
That's great.
she did that one time and I put syrup in her shoes and she.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dana, one more question for you.
Certainly.
On this. I know Santa's that they all have their favorite memories and stuff. What is your favorite Christmas memory?
As far as visiting with a child or just Christmas in general?
How about both?
Oh.
Or either.
I would say that there's those special times when children come up and they're scared to death of the big guy.
Yeah.
But they make a beeline right for me, or their hearts are just so heavy, you know, and they just want, you know, a grandma to love them and to tell them it's going to be okay. You know, there was that one little girl.
You getting teary?
No, not me.
It's getting dusty in here, by the way.
It's just one little girl that had just recently lost her grandpa, you know, and she didn't want to talk to Santa. She just, you know, wanted to talk to me and wanted Santa to bring her grandpa back, you know, and it's just, you know, and we were in the middle of a huge public event, big tree lighting, you know, and it's just like, it just, everything stopped around us, and, you know, just hold her hands and, you know, get, you know, this close to her face and say, you know, oh, sweetie, you know, I know that, you know, that you miss your grandpa, and there would be nothing that Santa would more love in the world than to be able to do that. But, you know, that's not the way his magic works. But then it's like, you know, and then I told her, I said, you know, I said, your grandpa's always going to be in your heart. He's always going to be there. And you just remember, if you ever feel sad, you just remember that he's always in your heart, and he's always looking out for you. And mom's in the background bawling, and
Santa's bawling,
yeah.
No.
So,
But we ask those questions to Santa all the time, but
Mhm.
with my wife as a Mrs. Claus all the time, sometimes she gets some of the tougher questions or have some of the special moments that I never
Yeah.
get to see because I'm doing
Yeah.
something else, entertaining
Yep.
children. And then afterwards, she comes by and tells me some great, great stories
Yeah.
that felt
Oh
and
yeah.
some funny,
Yeah. Uh-huh. We
yeah,
had
that's
we,
great.
we had one teenage kid that wanted a free ride to college. And I said, "Oh, you should have let us know, or we'll call you an Uber."
That's a good one.
We have a special contract with Uber. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll give you that free ride. Where's
Grandpa
Todd
Gus,
going to?
Grandpa Gus, what's on your mind? I see your hand up.
All right. We're talking a lot about children and parents or grandparents or something passing in their life. When a child comes to me, now I'm asking for your opinion as to how you think this works out, because it's what I use on children. A little girl comes up to me and tells me her grandpa just died, and she's very sad, and can I bring him back? And I tell her, I'm sorry, but I work with wood and with plastic and with wires. I make toys. I cannot make people. I cannot fix people. I can fix toys. But you know what? A part of your grandma went into making you, and a part of your grandma went into making your father. And in doing so, there's a part of your grandma still with you, and hold her dear in your heart. And for that way, your grandma will always be with you. And this is what I told her, and this is what I've told variations of to other children who have come to me with this situation. Just wanted to run it past you for a thought.
No, I think it's very good because it's from the heart, and you're putting stuff into them that they understand a little bit. I like it.
Lewis, you want to comment?
I would like to add a variation on the theme.
A variation on the what?
A variation on the theme.
Okay, go ahead.
I have written in a fake letter, her that's part of a book that I have written, in for Santa Clauses. It's not published yet.
Gotcha.
It has letters. It has fake letters to Santa Claus, including Christmas songs, song lists, a song list of Christmas songs, even a questionnaire for Santa Claus to use on children.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because a book would help. We're fixing to be hosting a Santa school soon for the Cotton State Santas, and I'm actually going to
Hey,
take
this
some of
wasn't
the,
a promotion night.
huh?
This isn't promotion night.
Don't forget the promotion.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jim.
We're going to create a school book for the class, and I'm going to take some of these questions and put them in there, just for people to be prepared for what if that. And that's what I think you're saying, Lewis, that someone's preparing a book that has some of those letters in it and some of the questions for you to already can be working on that.
Yeah, I actually keep with me, and you probably have seen them, the little red books that a child's name will fit on one page, and we'll write their name. Like this is my Santa's prayer book, and I'm gonna put your name in here. This way I can pray for you and your family, and certainly your grandpa that just passed. And we'll put their name right on one page. And so it's basically big enough that one name will fit on one page. And then when I get through the whole book, I flip it over and I can go the other direction. But it's just a little bitty book, and they can see that there's all these names from the little boys and girls that I pray for that are in this book. And then the trick about it, though, is if you're going to do something like that, I highly encourage you that you really do follow through on that piece and you pray over that book of names.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
I had one of the fake letters that I've written and is written by a girl who has lost her mother. And she's writing to Santa, asking him to bring her mother back to her. And I just came up with the perfect response.
Okay.
Hold on, let me warm up my voice first. You see, Gwendolyn, and I can do many things, but bringing your mother back is not one of them. However, I can make you a doll in the likeness of your mother. All you need to do is to describe me what she looked like. Now bear in mind, I cannot make any promises. This but please have patience with me.
Oh, you're okay, Lewis.
It's part of the act.
Yeah, I think we get your idea.
Yep.
It certainly sounds good, Lewis. Thank you for sharing.
I was ad-libbing on the spot.
Yeah. David Henson, I saw your hand's been up for a little bit. Why don't you give us what's your thoughts? And then David, I saw somebody
I
else.
just saw
David
that
Reinhardt.
I just saw that Santa Jamie there made a reference to the Cotton States Santa class, and I just wanted to point out that we must be neighbors. I plan to be there.
Okay.
I'm in Wedowee, Alabama.
Okay, great. I'm glad you're coming. That's awesome.
And then David Reinhardt, I saw that you had put your hand up briefly.
You got to forgive me because I'm new to this whole thing. I'm a third year Santa, but what I would say, and you guys can tell me, what I usually tell somebody who's either got a parent dying or a family member dying, I try to put it on them is to help me give them a gift of time. Let the parent know that spend as much time as you can with them. And as a favor from Santa, to be with your mother and father and let them know that you love them. And that's the greatest gift you can give them.
Oh, absolutely.
Either for grandparents or it's I just try to put it on them to give the gift.
Yeah.
Ted, you have your hand up. Hope you're on mute.
Did Ted leave?
Nope, he's not on mute. He's still on mute. Ted Flynn. I see him. He had his hand up. Hold on. All right. You find it? Nope.
I didn't. That's why I thought we lost him.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else while we wait, while Ted?
I don't know how to
There
raise
you
my
go.
hand.
There you
Can I
go,
ask
Ted.
a
Go ahead.
question?
Yeah.
This is Paul. Can you hear me?
Oh, hey, Paul. Bill Smith from Atlanta.
Paul Smith from Atlanta. How you doing?
Good. How are you, buddy?
I normally don't speak during these things, but I just signed up to do that to start talking to schools a little bit. The Santa America training in September. Has anybody done that? Because that really does deal with a lot of these subjects.
Yeah, I've never done that one.
I haven't done it either.
But I do think it was brought up a while back when we did our Santa school call. Somebody had mentioned that one.
I went to their classes in Gatlinburg, and then they also did one the year before in Memphis, Tennessee, at the I guess that was called. I'm not sure what that gathering was called, but it's sounded like it's really good training. That if I'm going to be involved in this and do this, it just gives us a depth of knowledge that you just don't normally see with these very sensitive subjects.
On another note, were you just at your place in Costa Rica or Panama, wherever it was?
No, we got a place in Panama. We haven't been there. No,
Oh, okay. I
we
thought I
went to the
saw some
beach with
pictures
some
like
friends.
you were.
So
I thought I saw some
No,
pictures of you on vacation.
we were in your neck of the woods. Went to Florida. So
Good deal. Well, please tell your lovely wife we said hello. Ted, I see your hand up again.
Yeah, I was pounding the unmute button. I don't know why I couldn't get done. There's a Santa down here or up here in Michigan that is a very good Santa that uses the approach, and he has kind of told us this. I've never been gutsy enough to try it, but he'll look at the child, say it's grandma that's sick or has died, and he will say, "Well, was grandma?" I'm like, "Was she sick?" And they'll go, "Yeah, she was sick." Said, "Was she hurting?" And they'll go, "Yeah." And he'll just look at them and say, "Why would you want to bring her back and go through that all over again? She's in a much better place." And I tell you, you think about that, that's doing two things. It's answering the child's question, but it's also, in a way, comforting the child that it's okay. They've moved on. They're not suffering. They're not hurting anymore. And, I would be a little afraid to do that, because what if they died in a car accident or something like that, But they usually approach it like that and handle it very well, and says that it works just about all the time.
It probably goes with the situation. If you know a little bit about the situation, it probably helps it out some.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably say it's also your delivery. Some people have that. You just have that ability. So, Derek, I saw your hand up for a second.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to congratulate the first response, because I think it's a unique way to make the children understand that their grandparents are a part of them. They're part of their DNA. They're part of their, if anybody has done any historical lineage or anything else like that, to find out where the background comes from, who their family is, so whether it's so on. I think it's an important note to make to the children, to help them realize that their grandparents, their fathers and mothers, their sisters and brothers are so much a part of them. I had a child come up to me. I've seen him now for 6 years. But the first time that I ever went to their house, his grandfather was there. They had a great big farm, raised chickens and such. And the grandfather was very, very stoic. A really gentle man, but very stoic, not very conversational at all. Really only said maybe 2 words to me the entire time, which was Merry Christmas. 6 months later, he passed away. So the next Christmas, when I came to visit, of course, everyone was mourning the grandfather because he wasn't there, and especially the grandson. And the grandson came up to me, and he was very, very sad. And he said, Santa, he says, Papa passed. And I said, yeah, I do. Made me very sad to hear the news. He says, well, I'm still sad. And I said, well, didn't your grandfather tell you about the stars? He says, what? I said, he didn't tell you about the stars. He says, no. I said, well, let me tell you something. I said, let's go walk out on the back porch. So we did. We got up, we walked out on the back porch, and I looked up in the sky. I said, you know what? I said, my mother is over there. My father is over there. My little brother is right over here. And I said, I know where your grandfather is. He says, you do? I said, absolutely. I said, at nighttime tonight, you look into the sky and you're going to see a star that's very, very bright and it's going to be twinkling. And that's your grandfather letting you know that that's the pathway back to join him one day. But it's not today, right? So you got a lot of work to do. But every night you can come back out here and you stand up and look at that star and you can talk to your grandfather anytime you want. He was like, that is amazing. I said, yeah, that's great. So the following year I came back and the mother comes up to me. She goes, you know, every night after dinner, he goes out and walks out on the back patio and he has a conversation with his grandfather. So
Nice. Anyone else?
Hey, I got a question real quick for Derek. Derek, this question here, I thought about you when right here.
Oh no.
Is the naughty list real, or is it just a fancy threat from the North Pole Mafia?
That darn North Pole Mafia.
Oh, but look at the size of that nice list. Naughty list there.
You know, I actually have 2 books I take with me. And I take them everywhere I go. And the children always ask me, what is this? What is this? And I said, well, it's my list. Well, which list is it? And I said, well, first you have to sign it, and then I'll tell you which list it is. But, you know, the one thing that I tell children, I said, look, this naughty list, this nice list, and everything else about that. I said, you should be more concerned about just being nice. Because if you're more concerned about being nice, you don't have to worry about being naughty. So I've got the children signed their own names in here. This is handmade.
That is cool. I like that.
Yeah, I love being able to have them sign the book because I keep a book myself. Not that big, but gosh, I have to up my game.
Everything's
to
bigger
wear-
at the North Pole.
I have to wear a
Yeah.
back brace.
So you're saying the North Pole Mafia is not real then? That's just something the elves made up?
Well, you know, the elves get cranky sometimes, you know, and you know, get a little you know, the kids have an elf that comes to visit them, you know, around Thanksgiving. And the elf finds their own way to create a little mischief when they're at the homes of these children. And then, of course, before Christmas Eve, they return back and help me make sure the sleigh is packed and everything else like that. But it's not really a mafia. But I call it the IRA.
Anybody else have how they answer those questions? Is the naughty list real or is it just a scam? Oh, Johnny boy, he fires them off.
Oh yeah, it's real, but it's got some loopholes. Just ask your elf on the shelf. That's what Derek was just talking about.
Go ahead, Lewis. You got your hand up.
Hold on, let me lower my hand. Well, I put it this way. Let me put it this way. Hey, if I were to portray Santa Claus as professionally, right, and the amateur Santa Claus as I am now, I would say, that good people sometimes do bad things, and bad people sometimes do good things.
That's right.
Sounds like my interview I had of an employee today. Unfortunately, in my day job, I have to put people in jail that steal from the company. But so I always tell them, hey, you know what? Good people make bad decisions all the time. Doesn't make you a bad person. Just means you made a bad decision taking that money. Yeah.
Hey,
How many
Kevin.
times are you Santa at your job? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I am.
I get it all the time.
In other words, heroes have flaws and villains have redeeming qualities.
Ah, there you go. I like that. There's always a redeeming quality.
Hey, Kevin asked a question in the group chat over here. So, what I'm going to summarize it a little different. What do you do as a Santa when you're sitting in the seat or a Mrs. Claus and you have to translate to Spanish and you don't understand Spanish, or someone speaking in sign language? How do you address that if someone come up and spoke to you in a foreign language that you're not familiar with? Kevin, I believe that's what you was asking. Oh, Ted's got his hand raised.
I just always respond, I'm in America, I have to speak English. I have to speak the language of the country that I'm in. I said, but I can kind of understand you. So go ahead and tell me what it is you want. And then, you can generally figure out what they're asking. You're going to do the same thing anyway, like a child that you can't hear. You're going to, oh, okay, it sounds good. See what I can do.
Or I just pull out my phone and go, the elves put Google Translate on my phone this year. Can you believe that?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's what Derek threw his up there. So Mrs. Claus and I, we're corny sometimes when we're going traveling. So we have a few things that I have a CD that does a little bit of Spanish to Christmas and Christmas to Spanish. So I have a little bit of knowledge. When they ask me something, I'll tell them the same thing you had. While I'm in the United States, primary language is English, but I will try to translate it. If not, I will get what y'all just said, the phone out with it. So we use that and we'll practice those sessions going down the road.
So you really just say you listen to Feliz Navidad the whole way to the show, and then you're like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
David Henson, you have your hand up.
So my Mrs. Claus is telling me that they do actually make earbuds that'll translate. Has anybody tried to use those? Are they in real time good enough to do anything with?
I actually have them, and you actually have to use the app that goes with it. So it doesn't make it any quicker. But it does, if it will speak it in English in your ear once it's typed in there or whatever in Spanish. So, I mean, it works. It's cumbersome though. It doesn't flow very well. And I mean, obviously the technology is
it's a whole rigmarole.
Yeah.
It's like you definitely would want to work it into your patter, I guess, as you want to put it, as part of your routine. Like maybe like the elves gave me this great device that helps me translate. My excuse was that the elves usually travel with me on Christmas so that I can understand, but when I don't have them with me, they don't. I can't help you with that because the elves understand all languages, but I only understand the language that you're hearing now.
There you go. That's a smart way.
Yeah.
I just say, no, get out of my face.
Yeah, those elves, they get a lot of pressure. Like they do a lot. Lifting guys.
Everything happens to them.
Yeah.
They're part of the prep and landing crew, that sometimes not only do they have to prep and land, then they got to come and, help me with translation.
They do it all.
Lake Country Santa, I see you're on. You got your hand up.
Yeah, I'm listening to you guys talk about Google Translate, and I was hoping somebody could elaborate a little bit more on what it takes to, is this something that you access online, so you have to have a Wi-Fi connection and Google Open, or is this an app on your phone? Or?
Yeah, for sure.
Just Google on your phone, and you can get it in the Google Translate mode, and then you can speak into it in English and have it translated to Spanish or vice versa.
If you have an iPhone, there's a pretty solid translate app built into that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an up and down situation where there's some delay and some seconds involved there. And it coming back and forth. I use it for my job.
But it works pretty good if you're in a tough situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
and I kind of take the philosophy that look, I mean, nowadays somebody will question why I have a phone. Like, you got a phone, don't you? Santa's got a phone. We got to keep up with the times.
And
I'm like, but don't you want to see Mrs. Claus?
Is this something that you have to type in what they're saying, or it just picks up what they're saying?
Derek, you want to, I see your hand up. You can talk about it.
Yeah. First of all, I love the app. If you could give it 10 stars, I'd give it 10 stars. I picked it up when my wife and I went to France, and it was very useful, especially with the cabbies and also the restaurants. But you know, French people can be pretty particular. And what's great is on the several hour flight to France, to Paris, because we went to Paris first, I started studying French on the app itself. I would ask a question in English, like, where's the bathroom? And it would read out in French what that was, but it would also speak it to me so I could hear it. So I could listen to it 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and I could get that programmed into my brain. So, you know, when I was ready to go to the bathroom, I was ready to ask.
Yeah.
But the app is helpful.
Yes.
When you're traveling overseas, it gets a little shaky because of Wi-Fi connections. But here in the US, it's amazing. Now, if the app could actually teach you sign language, that would be even better, because I deal with a lot of people that know sign language, and that's how they communicate. And just to put a pitch out there for anybody who wants to do this, but I definitely think we need sign language training in some of these schools. It would be a miracle to the people who can't communicate verbally and communicate through their hands. So
Yeah, I think there was in Memphis there was is it what is his their names? It's a couple from Florida. He's on the board of iBurbs. His wife is a sign language teacher, and she did a conference at ISC Memphis, and then no, somebody did one again in Gatlinburg. I thought there was one on the sheet. But yeah, definitely it's something we can use more of for sure.
Yeah, I think we need an entire day, because 45 minutes is not enough. And then to have a practicum where, you know, you learn some
Yeah, you
of
gotta do
the
it
dramatic
besides hear it.
moves. Yeah.
Bart, I see your hand up, Bart.
Yeah, my wife and I signed up for classes with Kat Imhausen. I'm sure I'm butchering her last name.
Yeah, she's
and
amazing.
we did that for over a year. I can be to be honest with you, I forgot more than I learned already, and I'm woefully poor at it, but we get little flashes every once in a while that come through in a pinch, and it was well worth it. Plus, it's extremely reasonable to work with her, to work out arrangements and stuff. I'll be honest with you. I can't imagine how can she can do what she's doing for as little as she was charging me. So it pays to seek out her or somebody else to set up some lessons that can work around your schedule.
Right.
All right. Another question for us, Jamie.
All
Hey,
right.
just before we move on, I just got to, if you don't mind, I don't have a place to raise my hand on my iPad, so I
Okay.
apologize. Just jumping in like
Just
this.
jump in, Paul.
No, just jump in, Paul.
So when I going through my entire grade school years through junior high school, I was with deaf children, kids all the time. They can read lips. The problem is they're communicating back to us. So if you just learn the basics of how to reply to some of the things, it's really all you need to do, because they read lips. I mean, you could be across the room and they'll watch you talk and know exactly what you're saying. And on the other side of that, when I work international, so I travel a lot, different languages, I pick up a lot of, if you're around it, you pick it up. But particularly I live in Atlanta, in Georgia, we got a lot of Spanish people. It's the children can speak to English, it's the parents that can't.
Right.
So just my 2 cents there.
That's how it is here in Florida as well. Mostly. Unfortunately, where I live, we also have a lot of migrant children that, because we have a huge agricultural business in the county I live in, we tend to get a lot of that don't speak great English as well. So, but I agree with Paul in the sense that a lot of the kids know English better than the parents do. That's for sure. So what's the next? Oh, I see David
Oh,
Henson.
we got David and we got Bart up. Let's go
All
with
right.
David.
In under the
Well,
bell.
this is another one that's about language. It's sort of related, but totally unrelated at the same time. Have you had them ask communicating with the elves, and if you speak Elvish or Elfish or however you would say that, and do you have some line or something that you do? I mean, is it like the Star Trekky speaking Klingon? I mean, do you actually try to throw out some Elfish language?
Of course, Jamie has some nonsense to spew.
Behave.
They did a fine job too.
Please, my elves speak English.
The best I can do is when they ask me what their elf's name is, I go Farfinnugan.
Farfinnugan.
And I'm like, well, that's his name at the North Pole. I don't know what you named him. Yeah. Thank goodness none of them have seen that 1980s Volkswagen commercial.
That's right. We got Bart up next there. He's got his
Yeah,
hand.
while we're talking about communicating with kids, I went to the Santa America Symposium a number of years ago, and it changed my life, I'll be honest with you, in the direction that shaped our portrayal going forward. And so we do a fair amount of work with
per year. Okay, it's $10 per month.
I don't know what's going on.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And because of that, I wanted the ability to communicate with kids about Christmas, you know, nonverbal kids on the spectrum and so on and so forth. And so I found an app, a free app for my Samsung tablet that allowed me to create my own AAC board and had a jump page where I could create all kinds of icons and stuff that were Christmas related.
I like that.
And I've used it twice in 4 years, but I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house when I'm communicating with a nonverbal young adult who,
I liked
after that, they wouldn't leave me alone, you know?
Yeah.
They kept skipping back in line.
That's funny. That's clever. I like that idea.
I do like that idea.
I'll write that down the second. People jumping in.
All right. Hey, is Don on here still? Don Osborne, go ahead and unmute. I got this question for you, Don.
I'm scared.
Oh no, it's not too bad. Santa Don, how do you fit down the chimney? Or are you like a jolly ninja and just break in?
Jolly ninja.
Yeah, jolly ninja that just breaks in.
I have a magic key. That's how I get in and out the front door. Now, as far as chimneys, I can't tell you that.
See, Santa Don, my mama told me that you buttered up and slid down that chimney like that.
What kind of butter is it?
Yeah.
What in the world has your mama been watching on television? And for heaven's sakes, don't watch it with her.
Hey, we really would like to hear some of your other Santas and on here. You know, when they asked that question, how do you fit down the chimney, or how do you get in the house when the door's locked? What is yours? Some of your suggestions that y'all use.
Yeah,
Bob's
let
got
me
his
know,
hand
because
raised.
I don't have a whole lot of good ideas.
Go ahead, Bob.
I had a seasoned person tell me a key thing to tell someone about that key is that that key works but only one night a year. It's very important for kids to kind of understand that I don't have that key and I'm not like coming into your house in June. You know, it only works on Christmas Eve, and at midnight on Christmas Eve, it stops working.
And my wife is very adamant that I tell them that I only enter at night with your parents' permission.
That's yeah. I feel like there needs to be a boundary set there, at least in today's world, you know, where kids get worried, they get scared, you know.
You're coming in my house, what?
Yeah, you're in my house, dude. But I like to say
Stranger danger.
Yeah, that one time, that's it. It just works. It's a special kind of magic.
Yeah. Everett.
You know, you can hear me?
Yep.
I'll ask the question. I said, now refresh my memory. Do you have a pet? And they're like, yeah, we got 2 dogs and a cat. Well, I have specially trained both of your dogs to lock and unlock the door for me. All right. Now they can only do it on Christmas Eve night when I do a special knock. I said, they won't do it for anybody else at any other time, but they can unlock and lock the door for me, and they let me in, and I give them a little treat. And after I leave, they'll lock the door again. Now, sometimes, you know, them little dogs or those cats have a hard time with a deadbolt, but they get it. You know, takes a little effort.
Man, I like that. I love that.
Crazy is I have a friend that has a cat that can unlock, that can actually open a door. Like, and he's had raccoons in his house in the night because the cat comes in and opens the door from the garage. I'm like, that's it. I would shoot them all.
We've
That'd be one
also
dead cat.
we've also had kids be very adamant that we leave their stuff on the back porch because they don't want anybody coming in. So we make sure it's like, you know, you want it on the back porch again? Okay, we'll leave it back there for you. You don't have to worry about it.
That goes with a question I had here is, if you find me sleeping on the couch, do you whisper any sweet messages to me, Santa?
No,
Do you say anything about me sleeping? Or do you ever whisper a kind word to a sleeping kid when you leave their presence?
We got Bart up there. He was up there for the last.
Go ahead, Bart.
Go ahead, Bart.
On the last one, if I think I can just pull off the I got a magic key thing, you know, that's good every single time. But if mom is right there and I can roll this into like a double whammy, I'll say, well, I have this magic key and I really don't use the chimney anymore, to be honest with you. I mean, I just come through the front door if I can. And I'll say, Mom, you still have that secret phone number I gave you. And then she'll look and she'll probably nod her head yes. And that way, if my elves aren't around and you need to get a hold of me to tell me that, you know, Johnny, whoever's in front of me, has done something really good or something really bad, you can let me know, right? Right. Okay. And if I need to get in the front door, I'll give you a call. And that way the kid knows that I'm in communication with mom, and mom can give me a call anytime, or dad can give me a call anytime they want to. So that Santa is always in the know of how they're doing. And that sort of allows, it's a nice segue to get into a conversation with the kids about how they're doing. And
yeah.
Ted, what do you have for us?
I'm going to give away one of my best secrets.
Oh, I've got my pen.
On Amazon.com, you can buy a thumbprint padlock. And I've got a magic key, and I bring out that thumbprint padlock, and I hold it out for him, and I pull it. It's locked, and I take my key and wave it in front of it, and that thing just automatically unlocks. Holding it with the fingerprint that unlocks it underneath. And then I'll snap it back and say, here, you want to try it? And they'll do it, and it'll pop open.
That's clever.
I'm the, I don't do the chimney thing. That's dirty and nasty. That was 2 Santas ago. That was like over 800 years ago that they used to do. But
I like 2 Santas ago.
Yeah, 2 Santas ago.
If you can find one of those things, that just stops them in their tracks.
That would be good.
Prop guy. I like
I
that.
always love a good prop that'll
me too.
make them
I'm
think.
a prop guy.
It's an easy way.
But it goes, I know, like Santa Courtney had made the door that you could, the magic door, and basically it had a remote. and then you could make the door open when you wave the key. But I like the padlock idea because it just gives them an example, puts it in their head, the example of how the key works.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I keep the padlock and the key both in a little bottle, and I'll pull it out and say, I shouldn't show you this, but I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You want to want a North Pole secret? Right, Jamie. I know you wrote that down in big
Oh, I
letters.
done ordered it on Amazon.
Probably with your Sharpie.
I done ordered it.
Oh, somebody else. Santa Jerry's got something he's showing us.
That's your keyless lock. It's locked right now. And you can open it.
Ah, nice.
Just wave the key in front of it. Boom, it's open.
Is that a
Can't really see
thumbprint?
it on the camera.
Yeah, the thumbprint one.
Yeah.
That's
There
clever.
you go. Key
Clever
open.
idea.
That is. That's a
thumbs
great.
back.
That's a clever
I love
idea.
that. I love that. That is really cool.
And it's rechargeable.
Oh, and you got to charge it up. Just like what I need. One more thing that needs batteries or got to be charged up.
Another remote.
USB port chargeable. There you go.
It holds a charge for a long time.
I have
Yeah.
to make sure at the end of the season I rubber band everything together that has its own charging cable. And
I haven't
know,
used this one since Christmas. It's still working. So
I'll lay the cord for my thumb lights somewhere because I have the rechargeable thumb lights, and I'm always like, oh man, nothing quite fits it.
David, what do you have, sir?
So I have one of these locks in my cart on Amazon right now, but I'm kind of curious. Most of us, when appearing as Santa Claus, we're wearing gloves. So how does the fingerprint thing work if you're wearing gloves?
You do have to take the glove off.
Yeah, I generally wear my gloves for pictures but then I take them off a lot of times when I'm in the house because I can't turn books. I didn't do a lot of things with gloves on, so it does. I go most of my home visits without gloves.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, that's something to keep in mind. I've always tried to keep the gloves on.
Because I usually do all the photos right up front and get them out of my way. And then we can focus on the other things that we want to do, especially just for home visits.
How do you?
I'm not doing all that stuff for other, if I'm doing an appearance kind of a thing. I mean, that's just me personally. I'll probably if I'm at Harley Davidson, I'm probably wearing my gloves the whole time I'm there because I'm just taking pictures the whole time. But if I'm doing a home visit or I'm doing something that's a little more of entertainment value, I'll take them off. Same with my hat. If I go into a home, a lot of times I'll take my hat off because that's the polite thing to do when you enter a house. But that's usually after pictures. So
I have a 5-foot rule with gloves. Like if you're within 5 feet of me, or most people are going to be within 5 feet of me, I don't wear them.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of.
So David Rana, you had your hand up or something? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're talking about the keys and the locks and kind of a gimmick toys. I was wondering how you guys handle a child bringing you his elf. I had one last year. He brought me their elf because they accidentally touched it with their hands, and they felt that it had lost its magic. and I was kind of at a loss to magically give it its powers back. The parents had gloves to carry it home, and they either put it in a jar or something, but they were bringing it to me all worried that it's lost its magic. How do you handle something like that?
Go ahead, Ted.
David, do you have a pair of the lights?
I'm sorry?
The lights that go in the glove?
The thumb lights?
I do have the thumb lights, yes.
That's the perfect thing. You just open the container and you go and you touch him on top of the head with that red light and say, okay, be careful.
Right.
And it works every time. I have that a lot.
Yeah, okay. Is there, because I'm envisioning maybe theatrics. My wife's in the theater and whatnot, like finding like a chest to put it in, and almost like smoke and mirrors and lights coming off it, and put them in there and have it do something like that. Is that just too elaborate, or?
Yeah, I think you keep it simple. You don't want to get too complicated in the math.
Okay.
But Derek, you had your hand up?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's like one of the grandest opportunities to demonstrate the power of Christmas, when a child brings you their elf and they tell you that they've touched it and they're afraid that the elf has lost the magic. The D-Light is amazing, and I use it all the time. And one of the most special things that I love doing with it is I walk the child and the elf, and I carry the elf over to the Christmas tree, and I touch one of the Christmas lights. And I look at the child very seriously, and I said, "Do you believe in Christmas magic?" And the child looks at me and, "Oh, absolutely, Santa. Absolutely." I said, "Then here's what we're going to do. That Christmas magic that's lighting that light bulb right there, I'm going to touch it, and my finger lights up, and I place it right on the chest of the elf, and I make the elf jump when I touch the elf in the chest, and the child will typically jump back. And then I ask for the holder to put the elf back into the holder, and then I whisper something to the elf before I close the holder, and I hand the elf back. And when you do something like that, the children that are very connected will get it. The other thing that I do, especially with big crowds of children, is I put my hands together, and like if I have touched somebody in the crowd with my D-Light, and I tell them, you know, I think you need a little bit of Christmas magic. So I touch them in the chest with the D-Light, and they kind of jump back. And the other children come towards me and they go, "Well, Santa, we want more Christmas magic as well." So I put the D-Light inside my hand and I start blowing. But while I'm blowing, I flicker the light, and the light shines through my fingers, right? And then I give them, I share that little bit of Christmas magic with them. And then another one will come up and ask to do the same thing. You know, I used to play catch with the lights. I had an elf that I worked with in the mall, and we would throw the light across the crowd, and he would throw it back to me. And we started playing like this frisbee game. Like we would toss it behind our back, and he would catch it between his legs. You know, there's so many things that you can do with that little prop. It's amazing. But
it is
the whole
absolutely.
Christmas tree, incorporating the Christmas tree and the lights, or the star at the top of the tree. I mean, you can figure it out, but it's a blast.
Good stuff. Anyone else? How to rescue an elf? Fantastic. What else you got, Jamie? Oh,
Let's
nobody-
stick with the elf. Let's go to something that we do go with all the time. Let's go with the elf on the shelf. What is my elf's name?
I said Farfennugan.
But I call it Snowball.
Well, at the North Pole, it's Farfennugan because he's got an elfish name at the North Pole. But when he comes to your house, you get to name him whatever you like. I bet you picked out a really great name.
I did. It was Bubbles.
I'm not
Bubbles,
allowed to
what a
know
great name that Bubbles is a great name. I bet that's because he's got a bubbly spirit, right?
See it.
Yeah. Go
So-
ahead, Everett. You got your hand up?
Yeah, we came up with you know, at the North Pole, of course, you know, they have there's so many of them that we have them by number, and but when they come down, you know, to spend time at your house, you give them their a new name, but when they come back and talk with, you know, Mrs. Claus and report, you know, they go in now your elf would be 8675309.
That's
And
great.
I was just gonna say
They don't know.
that.
the
They don't
parents
know.
all smile, you know, but you know, and you're deadpanning it, you know, but that's what we like to do.
Write that down.
Yeah, that's actually brilliant.
I use the zip code.
Everett, did you used to work for Deloitte? Sorry,
No.
that feels like that's like a great, like, I love that.
Sure, it's not like
I'm doing that.
3.14 1592 6535 8979.
that was too. I
You've heard of pi, how it's infinity. That's how all of our elves name numbers are. Yeah. I'll lose my mind.
8675309 is the ultimate.
No,
Oh, yeah.
You can always remember that, you know.
The elf's name would have to be
Perfect.
Jenny, though, right?
Yes.
Jenny.
That
They're
is
probably
our
as
go-to.
well.
I use that 8675309 every time.
That's hilarious.
It's gotten to the point though, only the grandparents are laughing.
Yeah.
Parents laughing too.
One of the things I like to do when they ask me that is that, you know, we want you to name them, but at the North Pole, I name all them after jelly bean flavors. So yours is butterscotch. So what have you named it? And then, you know, and I said, each year I give them a new name. So that way the next year they said, hey, how's butterscotch? Oh, this year you got cotton candy. So that's a way I kind of go with it. But I love the number one. I love that. I didn't ever think of that. But I go with the flavor, so that way they could tell me what they named it. But that's one of the dreaded things I I dread is when they come up there with that. What's my elf on the shelf's name?
But I feel like, do you guys put on, do you have like an entry form, but when you make a personal visit to somebody's house, what is your elf name to like the parents maybe so that they tell
Yes.
it to, or, okay.
An after action report.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. And you write down, you basically debrief yourself out in the driveway or down the street.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, what
Because
you
if you get a little
wore.
help, I feel like if you get a little help from Santa at home, you probably rock and roll.
Well, one of the things I picked up this year, I don't remember where, was somebody had like a elf report book. So if they have an elf that comes back to the North Pole and is giving me information, I'll go, oh, wait a second. I got your elf report right here. And I open up the little book, like a leather bound journal.
Yeah.
And in there, you already have from the parents the name of the elf, what good things they've happened in school, you know, something positive that's happened that only your elf would be able to tell them about. Oh, and maybe one little mischievous thing you did. Oh, remember? Oh, here the elves tell me about you spilled some milk. And then, you know, in the elf report, that's where you've got the name. So now you don't have to worry about trying to remember it. Because if you open the book and, oh, well, they got to report. They all know that the elf's got to come back to the North Pole and report on them every night. So there's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with flipping the book open and say, oh, I've got your report right here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jamie.
I cheat. I wear hearing aids. So with my hearing aids, there's a part that my wife has that she can talk into it and I can hear it. I can't speak to her. So if she's nearby and they ask what the elf's name, I may be going along with it. Then she may ask the mother and she'll whisper in my ear, Sparkles. And it works for about 12 feet away. So sometimes I cheat when we're going blind in or at photo shoots when they catch you off guard with it.
So is that how she also says, you didn't take the trash out?
That's it.
You didn't empty the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bruno. Or Bart. I see Bruno up there.
Bruno. That's, by the way, that's our therapy dog that Mrs. Claus is training
that.
right now. And she's a mental health professional and also my Mrs. Claus. So we're gearing up, you know, potentially this season to be able to bring him along to hospitals and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Place flash up there. But my question goes all the way back to the delights. I'm on Amazon right now looking at them and they offer what looks like a regular size and a jumbo size, or I don't know if that's the LED they're referring to, but there's a light item for a regular one and a jumbo one. I'm not really sure how that equates, but is that
Big
for
fingers.
big fingers? Is that-
Big fingers.
Yeah.
Bruno,
Some size.
I take them right out of the fingertips and put them directly into my gloves. So get the cheapest ones.
Yeah.
You
I actually
don't
use,
have that little fake thumb with you.
I use the rechargeable version. I forget who I got them from. But man, they're super bright too. I have to be careful because they're like super bright. When they're fully charged, they'll blind me. Then I'm like, for the next 5 minutes, got a white spot in my face.
Yeah, Larry Talbert sells them, those super brights. and they will blind you if you look at them too long.
Would you guys be interested in one that, like, if you wore like a glove under a glove, that every finger lit up and you could control it with the other hand?
Ooh.
Oh. Yes.
It changed colors, because that's something I can like make super easy with a Pico LED, like an LED that's so small it could just like literally run down your. I'm thinking this is like giving me great ideas. Anyway, sorry.
You haven't made it
no,
yet?
that's amazing.
I'll hit you guys up.
We just ordered 4.
Yeah, it'd be super cool. Like it's like when you go see the Mandalorian at Disney, and he pushes buttons on his fingers actually to make him say the things that he says. But you can also light up lights and make things happen with like this hand. So I'm gonna work on that.
That's cool.
Some cool Santa stuff.
Yeah, I'll take 2.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. I ordered 4.
Hey, I still got a belt buckle in the works from last year that I was showing everybody. This anyway.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting on my Michael Jackson glove.
Yep.
Hey man, sparkly gloves are where it's at.
Well, the one that he's missing is floating around there somewhere.
I've got it.
So a wireless thumb, huh?
Wireless thumb.
I like it.
Wireless thumb.
Yep.
Go ahead, Everett. You got your hand up?
Yeah, going back to the ELF report, if you have a bunch of information on the children or just one child, instead of me, if you try to remember all that, I get caught up in the moment and I'll forget a lot of things, unless Mrs. Claus helps me remember. But if you have that ELF report, that you have, what their favorite toy is, their favorite show, their food, teacher's name, principal's name, dog's name, whatever. You can have all that in an ELF report in your nice book, and you could read it. Oh, let's check on Tommy here. Here's his ELF report, and you're bringing the child in his realm into your realm, and you're kind of bonding together, and that helps me to remember, and kind of that I don't have to like, oh, what was his teacher's name again, or but that's what I do.
I think there's an element of the kids are if the kids are learning that the elves are going back and reporting on them, why wouldn't Santa have the elf report?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not gonna throw out some big spreadsheet and be like, all right, here we go. Let's see what we got here.
I don't know. A kid might actually understand that though.
Yeah, that's
true. Hold on, let me get my iPad out.
Yeah.
For real.
I know we're about near the end of time.
I got one more question for you, JMAC.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, this is the last question I have. Santa JMAC, be honest. Have you ever met Taylor Swift? And was she on the nice list, or did she write a breakup song about you?
I just shake
I
it
remember
off.
the first show. You met Taylor Swift on the first show. I remember that.
I just shake it off. I will say that I've been saving this question for the end. Santa, do you and Mrs. Claus celebrate with a big party after you finish delivering all the presents?
No, we're too tired.
Yeah. Long winter nap.
Because they see which one is it that I think the movie
Christmas
Fred Claus.
Oh yeah.
When they come back at the end and like they're having this massive party, they're dancing. Like, yeah, we're pretty excited when it's all said and done, right? We just traveled the world. Why wouldn't you be excited if you have a big party? Your mission accomplished? Don't you always feel good when you finish a project, or well, how about when you finish that homework, right? Yeah, don't you? So same thing at the North Pole. The elves are all pretty excited when we've been finished delivering all the presents. Anybody have thoughts on that?
I do.
Go ahead, Everett.
At the end of the season, Mrs. Claus, she likes to throw the massive hot cocoa and marshmallow party for everyone, for all the elves, everyone that's worked so hard, world dignitaries, and even multiverse, bring the multiverse in, from other galaxies will come in and they'll have for this party. But in all, fairness, there's always elves on the shelves that don't come home in time. So that causes me actually to have to go appear at people's homes to pick up their errant elf on the shelf. So, you know, in reality, you can actually extend your season past Christmas up to New Year's by marketing that and doing elf on the shelf pickups. I had to do a couple of them already.
That's a pretty novel idea. I had never thought about that.
That's a great
Elf on a
idea.
shelf pickup.
Yep.
There's a Santa that's in Florence. He does an actual elf on the shelf delivery. The day after Thanksgiving, he starts delivering them to the families.
That's a
Heard of that
great
one.
idea.
But you can do it even before Thanksgiving. You can deliver them the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And you can put them in a trance and say, do not move until after Thanksgiving.
Put them in a trance. They've eaten too much turkey and now they're in a trance.
Yeah.
I got
A tryptophan trance.
Yeah.
a couple of little things here that my Minty, because we're not Mr. and Mrs. Claus, so I got Minty the elf with me. She is actually looking at doing that this season, is delivering elves to families' homes. And the other thing is the Carlucci's, they started an AI thing, which is just teaching you how to use it. So the AI, you talk to your phone, and it's basically you program it to communicate back as Elf from the North Pole. So there's a whole AI app that they're teaching, and we just spent I think it's what, $125 to actually learn it. I think that's a really unique way to, you know, because you could program it to the response. If you're getting your information before your home visit, you can actually teach it before you go in, so it communicates back like it's the elf back at the North Pole communicating to your elf. So couple little thoughts there.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of audio files that are timing. It's all about timing, but you can call the North Pole. It'll call and tell you. You can ask if somebody's on the naughty or nice list, and they'll be like, "Oh, they're clearly on the nice list, Santa." But I only use that generally on parents most of the time. Like if somebody's being a little ornery, like, go ahead, Gus. You had your hand up.
Last point for tonight. You asked how would I respond to a child who asks what happens upon Santa's return to the North Pole. I tell them the first thing we do is we have a nice solid long nap. And then I ask them, do you know about the 12 days of Christmas? Because they start on Christmas Day, and 12 days later, we have a grand party celebrating the return of all of the elves on the shelf who have been out and about and making notes and records for Santa. And at that point in time, we've got the North Pole all cleaned up and we're ready to start for the next year.
That's a great perspective.
That's a great one, Don.
Great
It's
story.
great.
Does 12 days, does it coincide with Three Kings Day pretty close?
Epiphany.
Yeah, the Epiphany.
Yeah.
See, now I'm close to Tarpon Springs. I watch it every year. Go ahead, Derek.
I have a question for all of you, actually. Because I've been asked this before, and I tried to get around it, but how long do you live, Santa? Are you the only Santa? Have there been Santas before you? Will there be Santas after you?
Go ahead, Jamie.
I love this when they ask me how old I am. So I have some really smart nephews, and so they'll question me they throw me hard questions out there sometimes. And so I tried telling them that I was Santa and I was 1,700 years and stuff. And they said, you know, they're 8, 9, said, no children could believe that. So I go, my personal self, I do that. I'm a very young Santa. I'm only 75 years old. My dad was Santa that passed it down to me. He lived to 115. My grandpa was a Santa. He passed it down to my dad that passed it down to me. He was 134 years old when he did that. You know, you've seen some of my brothers and uncles and cousins. They don't have beards. You see them at the mall sometimes. So I don't go that I'm that old. I kind of keep it modern, but it's passed down generations to generations.
I just go with, so he fell off a roof and I put the suit on.
That's a good one.
No, I am in agreement with Jamie. I don't try to portray I mean, that's my backstory. I don't try to portray that I'm 1700 years old. I just feel like these children nowadays are a little smarter and certainly more adept to what is real and not. And so I try not to sell them on something I try to keep everything as real as possible. And I will just say, look, I was, when my father retired from being Santa, he passed it along to me. And so I got to be Santa. But yes, there's multiple Santas. And sometimes the movies get it right.
I do the same thing because in reality, my dad was Santa, and when he passed, I got his suit. So that's how I started into this thing. This is my 4th year, so I'm fairly new to this thing. But I don't portray myself. I'm 2nd generation Santa, and I spent many years learning from my father.
I don't begrudge anybody doing their own thing. I mean, you feel like you do how you want to do. Grandpa Gus.
All right. I'm not going to tell you the whole long story, but suffice it to say, I accepted the spirit of St. Nicholas, and this is how I became Santa Claus. And if a child says, how do I do that? Because I have one that is pestering me, that he says he's going to be Santa after I am done. I said, first you have to become good and a proper man as St. Nicholas was, and to follow his example. And as far as how old I am, I tell them I have gone beyond 7 decades of life. And that usually makes
7 decades.
That usually makes them stop and they got to think for a minute. Oh, 7 decades. What is that? And if they ask me about the North Pole, well, time is different at the North Pole. When it is morning at the North Pole, it is springtime for you. One day at the North Pole is like a year for you. And I age at the rate of the time that I am in. So if I am here with you now, I age as you would. If I get back to the North Pole, time slows down for me. Because come fall time for you, the sun is going down at the North Pole and will not come back up again for what you would call 3 whole months. So
yeah, that's a good perspective.
It is.
that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Good night, gentlemen. Thank
Anybody
you
out here?
for thank you for
Anybody have
inviting
anything
me.
else? Thank you, Grandpa Gus.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love the
guys.
7 decades.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't even keep up with what decades are. I'm like, wait a second, decades are 10 years. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, we had so many questions. I don't know if we got through even a half of all the ones that we had generated. But I challenge all of us to, sometimes you can use some Chat GPT or Grok or anything to run some questions from kids just to get a perspective of something that might be different, and then run through them yourself. So it's always good to keep educating yourself. I think I heard somebody once say about the age thing, I'm younger than my tongue, but older than my teeth. Something like that.
What?
Well, your teeth come in after your teeth come in after your tongue, right? So you're older than your tongue, but you're younger than your teeth, or whatever, vice versa.
Oh.
All right, I appreciate everybody tonight. Thank you for
Thank you so
joining
much,
in.
everybody.
We'll see y'all again in 2 weeks. I forget what our topic is in 2 weeks, but we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
All right.
Take care. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Great show.
Thank you.
Thank you.